Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Vintage Toy Freedom. Today we're going to do a G.I. Joe figure. Obviously, it's very G.I. Joe centric because that's kind of my thing, but this is a little bit different than our normal cup of tea. This is a G.I. Joe Sergeant Savage and his Screaming Eagles, and this is the Cryo-Freeze Biochamber Sergeant Savage. So this is really cool. If you remember a past episode, the Sergeant Savage line, the one with the figure with the VHS tape in it, was the first fail that we've had for Vintage Toy Freedom. So hopefully this offers a little bit of retribution. This is a very underrated line. I know I've mentioned this before. I opened the Arctic Stormtrooper. You know, that's got the die cut packaging with the bullet holes. It's got some Joe Kubert original art. There's a little kind of comic strip for each one that correlates to whatever the figure is. It's got some cool vehicles. They got some cool features. I think this is an underrated line. I think it's cool. It's easy to get into. You can find it for really cheap. I mean, I've been finding carded ones for $5 and $8. They come with a lot of stuff too, and a lot of times, I don't want to say all because I'm not super familiar with the line just yet, but for instance, this backpack also acts as a squirting ring for you, as this arrow says. Another figure that we'll see in a later episode has a decoder ring. If you watch the Arctic Stormtrooper episode, you saw that it was a whistle. So kind of cool, kind of some interactivity there. So we're going to open this guy up. This is the Cryo-Freeze Sergeant Savage from the Sergeant Savage and his Screaming Eagles G.I. Joe line made by Hasbro. Came out in '95. And he's got a file card on there, so I'm going to try to be careful with that. I'm going to open it up here. You can see there's some creasing. There's some sticker residue. It's not in horrible shape, but not in great shape. And again, it's not really a desirable line. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Now, G.I. Joe Extreme, yeah, I would agree. Those are pretty lame. But this Sergeant Savage line, they're about 5 inches, 5-inch figures. So they obviously wouldn't really work for any kind of displays or dioramas with your 3 and 3/4 inch Joes. But so here we go. I'm just gonna let you hear that peeling sound. Okay. So I mentioned that there's a decoder ring, so you need the Urban Attack Dynamite, which I actually own and I will open in a future episode, and you can decode. You can crack this code and discover some Sergeant Savage secrets, which I don't know. Maybe it's drink your Ovaltine. I'm not sure. So yeah, here it says that's a man frozen. He's wearing a World War II GI uniform. Look, he's moving. Where's Blitz? So I guess the idea is that he has been frozen for 50 years and now he's coming alive after World War II. So kind of a Captain America sort of thing. So we're gonna open this guy up. I'm gonna slowly open this. He's got this plastic bubble he comes in. As you can see, that's a cryo-freeze chamber, so he's asleep after World War II. One thing I've mentioned, I think in a previous episode, if you watch some of the ones I've shot at the Yo Joe Outlet headquarters, excuse me, it's that cracking sound. I'm not sure if this is going to make it or not, but let's hope it does. Let's see. Little bit. I heard a little bit there. But I remember even as a kid, getting a figure, opening it for the first time, and just that crack of the knees and the elbow joints at the articulation. So it's kind of a neat thing to experience. This guy doesn't have an O-ring. He has just his legs kind of go to a peg there, so you don't have to worry about that. But he comes with some cool accessories. Obviously, his cryo-freeze chamber. He's got a helmet. This one does not have any kind of insignia. There are others that do. There's one that has sort of that insignia right there, that kind of his stripes, I guess, his sergeant stripes. Here's the aforementioned backpack. So this kind of goes around his back, and it feels like it's going to break, but I guess he wears it like that. That's kind of weird. But it also acts as a ring, so you can, fill it with water and squirt it, and be the coolest kid on the block with your water squirter ring, because that's something that kids were into in 1995 that I can attest to. So he's got some weapons, of course. I mean, he's a World War II sergeant, so he's got to kill the Nazis. Let's see here. He's got a handgun, a pistol. Kind of looks like Hawk's pistol. Maybe it is. Maybe it's like a larger version. So we got that. Let me set him up here. Let me move this mutt missile launcher. Let me move Mr. Centurion. No. All right. We've got some sort of tripod machine gun doohickey here. Let's see. We can figure out how to assemble that. I guess I would assume that goes in there. And this peg kind of goes in there. Try not to break anything, but this is a pretty soft plastic, so I sincerely doubt it would break. That was Max Ray, by the way, from the Centurion's line. Canner line had that in childhood. Let's see, maybe easier. Yeah, there we go. So the gun bone connects to the tripod bone. That's not going to work, darn it. So you probably don't want to sit here and watch me assemble this tripod for this weapon here, this machine gun. There we go. That's okay. So we got that, so we can kind of lay down and shoot Nazis. He's a knife for cutting Nazis open. So he's got a machine gun, he's got a handgun, he's got a knife. There's another knife in his boot. He's got some grenades. He's got a bandolier of bullets. See him right there. And then he's got a little bag, which I would assume has more. Let's see, I don't know, because I know on some of the Joe, if you collect Joes along the sort of edge of the thing, it would mention what all the weapons were. This doesn't, so I don't know if that's like a medical bag. I don't know if there's some like mortar shells or what. So Sergeant Savage, Robert S. Savage from Albany, New York. He's a combat mission leader. And so, yeah, he's fighting General Blitz and his Arctic stormtroopers, and there's some other stormtroopers in there. And that's it. So he's got a cryo chamber. So I guess we're going to freeze him. Maybe in 50 years, I'll open him up, and, you know, he can fight whatever kind of weird Donald Trump stormtroopers that have been taking over our land for. This doesn't stand up. That's kind of lame. I guess it would lay down. That makes sense. But so there you have it. So the Sergeant Savage and the Screaming Eagles G.I. Joe Cryo-Freeze Sergeant Savage. Cool line. I encourage you to get into it. You can get it for cheap. Open them up, play with them, display them. Let your kids play with them if you have kids, or nieces, nephews, friends, neighbors, enemies, whomever. So thanks for watching. And I don't really think they say Yo Joe on here. They say collect us all. I don't know if there's like a tagline. Let's see. When I get my hands on that treacherous traitor, he'll wish he had been frozen and locked in that chamber. In fact, that's not a bad idea. Sergeant Savage.